At my strict grandpa's funeral, no one wanted to give a eulogy. I stood up and spoke about the harsh lessons he taught me. Then the lawyer walked up with my grandpa's will in hand and said to me, "Congratulations, what he left for you." I froze in shock because he was a billionaire. The air in the church was thick with a silence, as cold as the marble floors beneath my feet. I stood alone, a solitary figure in a black dress, watching the few relatives gathered for my grandpa's funeral. They weren't weeping. No, their faces were etched with a familiar disdain, their whispers a venomous hum in the quiet room. "Good riddance to the old miser," I heard one cousin mutter. "He got what he deserved." My blood ran cold, a fire igniting in my veins. They knew nothing about the man who had raised me, the man they now so easily condemned. They were just vultures, circling for a piece of his non-existent fortune. But as the minister finished his perfunctory prayer and looked out at the empty pews, a question hung in the air. "Does anyone wish to give a eulogy?" Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. That's when I knew I had to speak. I had to tell them the truth about the cruelest man I'd ever known and the hell I'd lived through with him. I had to make them understand. I just never expected what would happen next. I was 12 years old, a girl with messy brown pigtails and a heart full of daydreams, when my world came crashing down. My parents, David and Sarah Bennett, were pilots. They were the kind of people who laughed easily and loved fiercely. I remember my dad's broad, reassuring shoulders, the same ones he'd hoist me onto so I could feel like I was flying. My mom's voice was a melody, a gentle hum as she painted watercolors that filled our small suburban home with vibrant colors. Our life wasn't grand, but it was perfect. We had movie nights on the couch, backyard barbecues with neighbors, and a dog named Buster who was just as much a part of the family as I was. We were happy, but happiness, I would soon learn, was a fragile thing. A single, sharp phone call changed everything. The faces of the two police officers at our door were ashen. Their words were a blur, a cold clinical summary of an airline crash in the mountains. No survivors. My dad's plane. My mom was with him. The world around me turned to static. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. The pain was too immense, a block of ice that solidified in my chest, leaving me completely numb. That's when Aunt Clara showed up. She was my mother's older sister, a woman with a perpetually pursed mouth and a sharp, calculating gaze. I'd only seen her at family gatherings, where she'd always seemed to be sizing us up. "I'll take the girl," she said to the social worker, her voice devoid of warmth. I didn't know it then, but she had an ulterior motive, a desperate hope to find some hidden fortune left by my parents. She drove me for hours, the scenery growing more desolate with each mile until we reached a place that looked like a ghost town. It was a dusty, windswept town with a single stoplight and a handful of dilapidated buildings.